We must not assume that commissioner legislation will get done in Colorado before the 34th state passes the COS resolution. We can assume that not doing it limits our options and our time to make considerations. The challenge to be counted in the quorum begins right now. The responsibility to bring this information to the state capitol rests upon the Colorado grassroots citizens.
So here's a question for you.
Okay.
What happens if we don't create a 34 ready legislation?
Yeah.
You know, in the state of Colorado, it's not an if, it's a when. When 34 states come together to actually sit in Article V proposal convention, and we've done nothing to prepare ourselves.
Right. Missed opportunity.
Yes. I think there's a level of chaos that could potentially ensue because all of a sudden it dawns upon the state legislature that they've got to get their act together. And they need to do it in such a manner that they're prepared. Well, they're already behind.
Yes.
They're not going to be prepared, which is unfortunate. That's why we are truly trying to get the state legislature to be forward thinking of this opportunity, whether Colorado becomes one of the 34 or not. They need this model legislation passed through so that they know what's going to happen as one of the 50 states.
Right. And, you know, one of the potential things that could happen, which really is not best for the state, is because of having a due date, right? And they've got to get through this. And they're not going to be as deliberative as they need to be to get to the best output. And secondly, they may be tempted to just copy what another state has done.
Yeah.
And that's convenient, but it's not necessarily the best output for the state.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned the timeline, because within that timeline becomes a lot of pressure and a lot of bickering. Nothing can come that is good from that scenario.
Right.
That's why it's critical that we get convention of state supporters to actually reach out and talk to their state representative and their state senator about this.
Right. Great point. And it occurs to me, having been down here for a few years lobbying and watching the cycle that occurs in the state legislature, they complain about it every single year, but they do it to themselves every single year. The last 2 weeks of the legislative session are pure hell.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to rush through as many of those 500 bills that have been proposed, and people are miserable, they're contentious, we don't get good legislative outcomes. And I think one of the most effective ways for us to get them to realize the necessity of this is, do you really want to have another 2 weeks like you have at the end of the legislative session?
Yeah, I absolutely.
24/7.
Yeah, I absolutely would like to see some very thoughtful legislation come out of this. That would be my hope.